Hello and welcome to the Everything is Black and White podcast. Andrew Musgrove here. Hope you guys are doing well. Give the video a thumbs up and hit subscribe as well. Coming to you in the aftermath of Newcastle United 1, Manchester City 1 here at St James's Park. And what a fantastic performance by the Magpies. I have to say, I came into this game fearing what the score would be at half-time, let alone full-time, given the way Newcastle United not only played against Fulham, but also in those games before the visit to Craven Cottage, where despite the fact they picked up 10 points, the performances hadn't been great. The spaces between the midfield and the defence were all too apparent and there for teams to really exploit. But today, everything that was wrong about the performance against Fulham and everything that had concerned me in the performance before that defeat at Craven Cottage just had gone. Defensively, they were absolutely solid. They were organised. They were disciplined. Everyone seemed to know exactly what they were doing, and they were switched on. Okay, there were a few moments of careless giving the ball away, careless in possession. Joe Linton seems to want to give the ball away at every single opportunity. He can't hold on to the ball, which is a little bit alarming, and it very nearly cost Newcastle United in today's game. But as a whole, I thought that the team were organised and they were disciplined, and also I think they understood you can't go toe-to-toe with Manchester City, because if you go toe-to-toe, you leave the spaces, they'll get exploited, they'll just pass you down, they'll wear you down, and then they will hurt you. What we saw today from Newcastle United was a very strong game plan. It was either hit it long and try and go in behind the defence, and to be fair, it worked to a certain degree, but it was also about absorbing it and biding your time. And when you have that opportunity to hit Manchester City, you do it. We saw it with the goal, and also we saw to a certain degree a little bit of the intensity back, the little bit of the press back. It wasn't as it was 2 seasons ago, but it was still there, and Edison did have a few close shaves when it came to clearing his lines, but the effort, the commitment was there, and it was a really, really good performance. And from my point of view, looking at it optimistically, I'm looking at it and thinking, well, if you play like that against teams coming up, your Evertons, your Arsenals, you can beat anyone put in front of you, and we should be really pleased with today's point. It could have been all three. You had Sean Longstaff put one wide. You had Joe Linton, who was clean through, and he just dilly-dallies on the ball. He traps it. It's a brilliant run, I think, from Jacob Murphy as he puts it over to the left. Oh, and Joe Linton just lets the Man City defender get back at him. If he just hits it, it's at very least on target, and it probably should have been a second goal. But Newcastle, certainly in the second half, I felt, were the better side and had chances to win the game, and that says a lot, considering the fear I had coming into this game, where if you listen to the podcast, I was fearing it to be 3 or 4 by half time. Now, the goals, well, we had a Man City goal, kind of, I wouldn't say it was out of the blue, because the first half, there wasn't really much to write home about at all. The goal comes from Gardival getting onto a pass from Jack Grealish. It was a very easy goal in truth. He's kind of just walked into the box and then allowed to turn a defender or two and roll it into the net. You'd be disappointed on one hand, but it was all about the reaction. And I have to say, I never really felt that Manchester City were gonna run away with this game. And then even when Newcastle United got back into the game, I never really felt that Man City were going to win the game. They were poor, Man City. And I think if you're Pep Guardiola, you'll be very, very frustrated at the way this game has gone in terms of your own team's performance, because it just wasn't at the level we expected it to be. Now, everyone has been raving about Erling Haaland, the best striker on the face of the planet, arguably the best striker the Premier League's ever seen. His record is scary, but yet again, Newcastle United have managed to keep him quiet, and you've got to applaud Dan Burn and Fabian Schär, particularly Dan Burn, who was just up for the fight. He was not letting him get a moment's freedom, and he was really impressive today. Still got his flaws, he's got that lack of pace, but in terms of a battle, he's got the heart, hasn't he? And Haaland just could not get the better of him. Joe Linton, I'm so frustrated at his inability to hold on to the ball. We saw again today, at least twice, where he's given the ball away in a dangerous position. Just doesn't seem to have a first touch. He literally couldn't trap a bag of cement in the weeks gone by. That's got to change. That's only can change from him. He's got to be more focused. I thought defensively he was a real rock. Him, Bruno and Joe Linton, Tonali worked really well together, and that gives you food for thought going forward into the games coming up. You have optimism that that's going to be a terrific midfield three. I said on the podcast in midweek that Newcastle United lack number 6, and I still think they do. But what we saw today was when you're focused and switched on and you've listened to the instructions and you've got that discipline, it can work with those three. It's probably just finding who's got the best defensive capability out of those three and telling one of them that's going to be your main focus, which is easier said than done, because I think the instinct of all three is to kind of go forward. But I think today they accepted and understood you can't do that against Manchester City. And I was impressed with Tonali. He looks sharp. He went off with cramp. Hopefully that's all it was. But I was impressed with him. I'm looking forward to seeing him get more minutes under his belt and just seeing him more in the colour of black and white. I thought Bruno and Joelinton did well, minus Joelinton's giving the ball away. I thought Bruno, again, getting back to the levels that we've come to expect of him. Still a little way to go. Look, we're not going to forget about everything that's gone past in the last few weeks. That would be unfair to do so. He needs to follow up this performance with another good performance against Everton, and so on and so on. But yeah, I thought it was a decent outing for him. Harvey Barnes, very quiet on the left, but again showed glimpses of wires in the team. Jacob Murphy, like, he just keeps coming back. He gets criticism and then suddenly he rises from the ashes like a phoenix, is the saying, isn't it? And I thought he was really good today, especially in an attacking sense. He had pace to burn. He was going to the Manchester City defence. And I think opposition teams make the mistake when they face Man City of just sitting back and parking the bus. Now, that worked to a certain degree with Arsenal until they conceded, and it works sometimes, but normally Man City will just pass it left, right, forward, and they'll just break you down. They will wear you down. So it's not, assert that if you play that way you will get a point or you'll get a victory. So I think teams sometimes make the mistake that they think that's the best way forward, and actually what we saw, the best way forward is going forward. When Newcastle United were able to hit Man City with speed and pace and on the attack, Man City could not handle it. Like, we've seen it with Jacob Murphy twice, thrice, just running at the defence, and they couldn't get it. And then you had the goal from Anthony Gordon, wonderful ball by Bruno, through to Gordon, who races on. He's brought down by Edison. It's a penalty, and he puts it in the back of the net. But the actual, build up to that is fantastic. But yeah, big plaudits to Jacob Murphy. I felt he really added something on that flank, just that determination and that, end product. I think, because he was good today. He was really, really good. But Anthony Gordon, as we say, got the goal there, got the penalty. Big responsibility for him to play in the middle, because it's not an easy task at all. I don't think he looks comfortable there. I thought today, though, he did do really well. And what we saw him do is chase down Edison quite a lot. And he's been criticised, Gordon, for his body language, for his effort, for his commitment. But today we saw him working really, really well with both wingers. And then, of course, he gets his penalty, gets the goal. And he did look a threat. And his celebration, I don't know if you guys noticed it, but he was tapping the badge, he was kissing the badge. Now, I'm not a big fan of that, because you can kiss the badge and then leave next week. But I think if you want to look into a bit more into that, you can. I suspect a new deal for Gordon will not be too far away, maybe within the next 7 days. I wrote about it on Chronicle Live, how his critics should remember just how good he is and what he can offer this team. And today we saw it in a position in which he does not look comfortable. He gets the goal. And from that goal, that came, midway through the second half, Newcastle could have won the game, and really probably should have won the game. Sean Longstaff comes off the bench and there's a ball pulled back. Murphy pulls it back to him and Longstaff puts it wide. That's got to be in the back of the net. It's a poor miss from Sean Longstaff, but that shows you what he offers. He's running late into the box, and maybe on another day that goes into the back of the net. And we also had Joelinton as well, as I mentioned at the start of the episode, played in by Murphy, and he's just got to switch on. If he switches on, it's a goal, I think. And we had also a ball across the box, which probably reaffirms the fact that Anthony Gordon's not overly comfortable up front. It was a wonderful ball. I think it was from Tino Livramento from the right. Might have been from Murphy. Goes across the face of the goal, between the goal line and the penalty spot, so not even 6 yards out. Edison's down on his knees, he's missed it, but there's no one there. And what you need is your striker waiting, your poacher waiting to tap that in the back of the net. Would Isaac have been there? Would Callum Wilson have been there? It's easy to say yes, we don't really know. But yeah, it was just missing that kind of striker to put the ball in the back of that. But that being said, Gordon's got his goal, tremendous penalty. Doesn't crack under the pressure. Great to see. And I think that silenced a few of the critics. And yeah, just really, really impressed with Newcastle United today. Hopefully, we see more of this. Hopefully, this is kind of the performance and the spark that kind of sees their performances improve to another level, because the way they were playing before the Fulham game wasn't sustainable at all. Yes, you could keep picking up points, but you were just kicking the issue down the road in terms of the level of performance. So in many ways, the Fulham defeat might have been a blessing in disguise, where Eddie Howe then had to face up to the issues of, the gap between the defence and the midfield, being careless in possession, not looking like everyone's pulling in the same direction, not looking like everyone knows what they're doing. Here, he had a game plan, and he clearly worked on it. And maybe that was the added extra bonus of not facing Wimbledon in the League Cup, having those extra days to work on it. And if that is the case, it's paid dividend to Newcastle, because the game plan was just brilliant, and everyone knew what they were doing. We haven't seen that this season. Everyone knew what they were doing. There were a few individual mistakes. Joe Linton, as we've said, Cher made a little bit of a dodgy clearance, but team-wise, organised, disciplined, and yeah, I think Eddie Howe probably did make the most of those extra days not playing Wimbledon. Wimbledon, of course, the visitors here to St James's Park on Tuesday, and to go in that game with a point against Manchester City, perhaps thinking you could have beaten them, is a massive confidence boost. Of course, I don't think he'll play an overly strong team. I think he'll still play a strong enough team to beat Wimbledon, but I don't think you'll see the likes of Anthony Gordon. I don't think you'll see the likes of Fabian Schär. You will see Joe Willock, who I thought today, again, didn't look quite right. He looked like he was running through cement at times. I think you'll see him on Tuesday. I think you'll probably see Sandro Tonali if the cramp isn't anything other than cramp. I think you might see him get at least 45 minutes. I think you probably see Sean Longstaff start, and on the wings, probably Miggy will get a shout out, and who knows about the rest of the team. It'll be a strong team, and they should beat Wimbledon. I'm hopeful they will beat Wimbledon. They know what awaits them. It is Chelsea here at the end of next month, so hopefully they can get through. It's a good opportunity to progress into the cup, and winning breeds confidence. That's what you need. It builds that momentum. So good point today to build upon against arguably the best club in the world. Newcastle United were not threatened at all, other than one moment at the death, and that was where Man City's winner was always going to come from. It was always going to come from something utterly sublime, and it very nearly came from Silva. The ball comes in from the right hand side, and he chests it down and turns on the volley. It's a fantastic save from Nick Pope. He's had very little to do all game, and in the dying moments he needs to be switched on to tip that wide. He does so. It's a tremendous save, and that's why Eddie Howe continuously talks him up as the best shot stopper in the Premier League. His distribution is pitiful. It's awful, but that save is tremendous, and it arguably a Newcastle United point. And like I say, you always felt that Man City were going to win this, which I was never too fearful they were. After Newcastle got the equaliser, it was going to come from a moment of pure quality, and thankfully Nick Pope equalled that moment from Silva with his own absolutely sublime moment. What a fantastic save by Nick Pope. So yeah, tremendous afternoon on Tyneside. Really happy with that point. I think you guys all should be. Let me know in the comments if you're not. And I just want to have a shout out to Jason Tyndall. I mean, we've all seen the new Adidas Clubber. Wonderful tracksuit. Jason Tyndall on the touchline in a full retro Adidas tracksuit. Brilliant. Brilliant choice. Really nice, actually. It really is nice. I suspect a lot of you have got them. Great to see so many people wearing them around the ground as well, and they were sold out. So that's a good bit of money into the pocket of Newcastle United, and it'll all help towards the budget. As we say, fantastic night for Newcastle, or fantastic afternoon for Newcastle. I mean, possession-wise, Man City had more possession, 62 to 37, but shots-wise, not really too much to separate them. 16 shots for Man City, 11 for Newcastle, 4 on target for Newcastle, 6 on target for Man City, 3 and 4 off target, block shots 4 and 6. Like, not much at all. I mean, Man City had 14 extra shots, 14 extra touches in Newcastle's box. Again, nothing to separate them too much. I mean, what's very noticeable though, aerial duels is the only real stat that really makes you go, okay. Newcastle United won 12 aerial duels to Man City's 5, and that is probably, I haven't looked into the stats, that's probably the likes of Dan Burn, Joe Linton, Cher, winning the headers, keeping those players quiet before they can get into the box and get a shot off. So all round, fantastic performance from Newcastle United. Really pleased with that. Foundation to build on. I thought everyone performed really well. Quickly just run through my player ratings while I'm here, and you can let me know in the comments if you agree. Nick Pope, going to give him a 7. That save was tremendous. We didn't really have too much to do other than that. Kieran Trippier, we'll give a 7 as well. I thought he was quite steady. He was organised, and that probably made a hell of a lot of difference as well. Very disciplined. Fabian Schär, 7. Again, him alongside Dan Burn, who I'm actually going to give an 8. I thought handled Haaland really, really well. I mean, Fabian Schär had that one moment where he tries to flick the ball away through his legs when he should just clear it. He's very fortunate. Big frustration that, but I'll still give him a 7. Left back, Lewis Hall. I thought he did all right. Again, he looks better going forward than he does defensively, but, you know, he didn't do anything wrong, so I'm going to give him a 6. Into the middle, I thought Bruno, 7. Joe Linton, you know, it just keeps giving the ball. Joe Linton, 7. Tonali, 7. I thought, you know, the midfield did quite well. More to come from them. On the wings, Jacob Murphy, for me, I thought was 8. Harvey Barnes, probably a 6. Didn't really get into the game too much. And up front, Anthony Gordon, an 8 as well. If I was going to pick a man of the match, I would either say Dan Burn or Jacob Murphy. I'll go for Jacob Murphy because I just thought he offered the biggest threat going forward and Man City couldn't really handle him. So yeah, Jacob Murphy, my man of the match. Let me know what you thought about those player ratings. Let me know what you thought about the game. Give the video a thumbs up, hit subscribe. It's been a pleasure. I'll be back tomorrow with an episode of Just Take 3, and it's goosebump moments, easy for me to say. And I'll be back live on Monday with Aaron Stokes for the Monday show, and it'll be a positive and happy one. And I bet you guys can't wait. Enjoy your Saturday. See you later.